Have you ever noticed something strange? The smartest person in the room is rarely the loudest. In fact, the people who constantly prove how intelligent they are often know less than the ones quietly observing everything. Why? What do quiet people understand that everyone else misses? The answer has almost nothing to do with shyness, and everything to do with how the human mind works. Most people believe intelligence looks like confidence, fast answers, strong opinions, always having something to say. But real intelligence often looks completely different. Imagine you're sitting in a meeting. One person talks nonstop. They interrupt. They answer every question before anyone else can think. They seem confident. Everyone notices them.
They barely speak. They simply watch. They notice who interrupts whom. They notice who gets ignored. They notice what people don't say. At the end of the meeting, they say one sentence. And somehow, everyone listens. That isn't luck, it's psychology. Our brains are wired to mistake noise for competence. Psychologists even have a name for something similar. People often overestimate confidence and underestimate careful thinking. The loudest voice usually captures attention first, but attention isn't the same as respect.
The more someone truly understands a subject, the more aware they become of everything they don't know. Think about the ocean. If you've only seen the beach, it feels small. But once you sail into the open sea, you realize how endless it really is. Knowledge works exactly the same way. The deeper your understanding becomes, the more you realize how much remains unknown. That's why genuinely intelligent people often hesitate before speaking, not because they're unsure, because they're aware of complexity. Meanwhile, someone with only a little knowledge,
It's easier to feel confident when you don't realize what you're missing.
Now, ask yourself something. When was the last time someone changed your mind by shouting louder? Probably never. People aren't persuaded by volume. They're persuaded by clarity. And clarity usually comes from thinking, not talking. Here's a simple experiment. The next time you're with a group of friends, don't focus on the conversation. Focus on the pauses. Notice who becomes uncomfortable with silence. Notice who rushes to fill every empty second. Most people fear silence because silence forces them to face uncertainty. But intelligent people often become comfortable there. Silence gives them information. When nobody is speaking, people reveal themselves in other ways, their expressions, their posture, their impatience. Sometimes the loudest message is never spoken aloud. This is why skilled negotiators don't rush to answer. After making an offer, they stay quiet. That silence creates pressure. The other person often starts talking and accidentally reveals exactly what they're thinking. Silence isn't empty. Silence is a psychological tool. Now, let's talk about something almost everyone has experienced. Have you ever walked away from an argument and suddenly thought of the perfect response hours later, sometimes days later? That's because your brain wasn't designed to produce its best thinking under emotional pressure. Emotion and reasoning compete with each other. When emotions rise, careful thinking often falls. Intelligent people understand this instinctively. Instead of reacting immediately, they create distance. They let emotions settle before deciding what actually deserves a response. And that's incredibly difficult in today's world. Every notification demands attention. Every social media post invites an opinion. Every controversy expects you to choose a side instantly. But here's the hidden cost. The more quickly you react, the less time you spend thinking. Imagine carrying a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, it never becomes clear. Only when you stop moving does everything settle. Your mind works the same way. Silence gives your thoughts time to become clear. Another reason smart people stay quiet is surprisingly simple. They understand that listening creates opportunities talking never can. When people feel heard, they naturally reveal more: their fears, their dreams, their motivations, their weaknesses. Most conversations aren't actually conversations, they're competitions. Everyone is waiting for their turn to speak. Very few people are actually listening. That's why someone who truly listens immediately stands out. People trust them, not because they talk more, because they understand more. Now, here's a paradox. If your goal is to appear intelligent, talking constantly may actually work against you. The more you speak, the more opportunities people have to notice mistakes. The more selective you become with your words, the more value each sentence carries. Think about your favorite teacher or your favorite mentor. Did they overwhelm you with endless words, or did they say simple things that stayed in your mind for years? Power isn't measured by the number of words. It's measured by the impact of those words. There's another psychological principle hiding here. People naturally assign greater value to things that are rare. A diamond isn't valuable because it shines. It's valuable because it's scarce. Words work the same way. If someone speaks every second, eventually nobody pays attention. But when someone rarely speaks, people lean in because they expect those words to matter. This doesn't mean intelligent people never talk. Far from it. When they have something important to contribute, they speak with remarkable clarity. The difference is they don't speak to impress. They speak to improve the conversation.
There's a huge difference. One comes from ego. The other comes from purpose. Think about history. Many of the world's greatest thinkers spent enormous amounts of time alone, reading, observing, writing, reflecting. Their greatest discoveries weren't born in constant conversation. They were born in quiet moments, where the mind had room to connect ideas. Modern life steals those moments. We're surrounded by endless noise, music, videos, messages, opinions, algorithms competing for every second of attention. Some people become so uncomfortable with silence that they haven't been alone with their own thoughts in years. But that's where insight lives, not in distraction.
In reflection, here's one final thought experiment. Imagine two people entering a room. The first wants everyone to know they're the smartest person there. The second wants to learn something from everyone in the room. Who do you think leaves wiser? Intelligence isn't measured by how many answers you have. It's measured by the quality of the questions you're willing to ask. And sometimes, the smartest question is never spoken out loud. It's the one you quietly ask yourself. So the next time you feel the urge to interrupt, to prove a point, or to win an argument, pause, observe, listen. Not because silence makes you intelligent, but because intelligence knows when silence is the better choice. After all, anyone can fill a room with words. Very few people can fill a room with thought. And perhaps that's the greatest difference between looking smart and truly being smart.